Introduction to Geometry, Level 2. Alright, in this video, we are going to practice drawing, denoting, and naming figures with a couple of examples. To be successful in geometry, you need to be able to read and describe the basic building blocks of geometry, both pictorially and symbolically. Let's go over the first example. Draw a figure that represents the following symbols: line segment PQ, line PQ, ray PQ, angle PQR, and triangle PQR. Alright, the first symbol represents a line segment, since there is a line segment drawn directly above the letters. We can draw this segment by drawing 2 points, P and Q, and connecting them with a straight line, as follows. Remember, line segments have a definite length. They have a beginning and an end. They do not extend forever and ever, in either direction. The next symbol represents a line, since there is a line with arrows pointing in opposite directions drawn directly above the letters. This is similar to a line segment. The only difference is that this line extends infinitely in both directions. We show this by drawing arrows on both ends. So we first draw points P and Q, and then we connect them, making sure we draw arrows on both ends, as follows. The next symbol represents a ray, since we have a line that extends in one direction, drawn directly above the letters. The first letter in the symbol always represents the end point of the ray. Keep this little detail in mind. So we first draw points P and Q, and then draw an arrow that extends from point P towards point Q, as follows. It would be incorrect to draw this ray the other way around, since the symbol is stating that the endpoint starts at P, not point Q. The next symbol represents an angle. For the most part, we denote angles using 3 points. The middle letter always represents the vertex. So we go ahead and draw point P, Q, and R. Then we draw 2 rays, both emanating from the vertex Q, as follows. You need to make sure that the vertex is being represented by the middle letter, in this case, point Q. It is very important to pay attention to these little details. The final symbol represents a triangle, and like an angle, it also requires 3 points. In this case, each of the points will be connected by a line segment. So we first draw points P, Q, and R. Then we go ahead and connect them in the order represented by the symbol. So P connects with Q, and Q connects with R. And lastly, you form the triangle by connecting point R and P. Make sure you're comfortable reading and drawing the various types of lines, rays, angles, and triangles, since you will be reading and drawing them extensively in your geometry class. It is important that you master this skill before we tackle more challenging problems in geometry. Alright, now let's practice denoting and naming geometric figures. Let's move along to the next example. What are the 3 possible names for the line shown? Recall that lines contain arrows pointing in opposite directions and can be denoted by using 2 points. In this example, the line shown can be denoted by using point C and point D. So we can name the line as line CD or line DC, making sure we draw a line directly above the letters. Alternatively, we can also name this line as line L, since this line is also labeled with a lowercase letter. Keep in mind, when we use 2 points to denote a line, we usually want to express the points in alphabetical order. Nevertheless, both expressions are acceptable ways to name the line. Alright, let's try the next example. What are the 4 possible names for the angle shown? The following angle can be named in various ways. Since this diagram only contains a single angle with point E as its vertex, we can use the vertex to name the angle, in this case, point E. So we can name this angle as angle E, making sure we draw the picture of an angle followed by the letter of the point that represents the vertex. Alternatively, the angle is also labeled with the number 5, so we can also name this angle as angle 5. We can also name angles by using 3 points. In this case, we can use point C, E, and D to name the angle. So we can name this angle as angle CED or angle DEC, making sure we write the point that represents the vertex in the middle. Just like lines, we usually want to denote the points of an angle in alphabetical order, whenever possible. Nevertheless, both forms are acceptable ways to name this angle. Alright, let's try the next example. Name the sides of the triangle RST. Here we have a triangle. Recall that triangles contain 3 angles, hence the name triangle. This also means that triangles are formed by 3 sides. We can name the sides the same way we name line segments, by using 2 points. In a triangle, the points we will use are the ones located on each vertex of the triangle. These vertices are essentially the endpoints of a line segment. The first side contains points R and S and can be named as line segment RS or line segment SR. The second side contains points S and T and can be named as line segment ST or line segment TS. And the third side contains points R and T and can be named as line segment RT or line segment TR, making sure we draw a line segment to symbolically show that we are referring to a line segment, not to be confused with rays or lines. Once again, it is very important that you master the skill of drawing, denoting, and naming figures. In our next video, we will practice how to name and denote angles.